We both grew up believing that the American dream was everything. It was supposed to be anyone who works hard can get ahead. But over the last few decades, it's turned into anyone who has a college degree can get ahead.
And the problem is, under 40% of individuals have college degrees, and yet 50% of jobs require college degrees. And so the result is that we have this mismatch where workers are being boxed out of opportunities that they are actually qualified for, while employers can't get the talent that they need.
This is Connor and Rebecca. They've built a new kind of job training program that could turn this problem on its head. They've already upskilled a new talent pool of over 10,000 people. Now, they're on the hunt for employers who are ready to step into the future by ditching the old model of hiring.
In order to keep up with the demand in the industry, we've been asked by our software partners to double in size every year for the next 3 years. In our industry, that's 250,000 new certified professionals. It is literally impossible that those folks will come through traditional college.
The main goal as a hiring manager is to bring in the best people that you can find to get the job done. Okay, how can I figure that out?
That's a great question.
Stop it.
We'll take a look inside the journey of one fast-growing tech company as they execute a new hiring strategy and see what happens when they take a chance on members of this new workforce. If it works, could this new approach help reopen the American dream for millions?
This is Stand Together Presents, stories, ideas, and advice from changemakers tackling our biggest challenges.
There are 10 million unfilled jobs, about 6 to 7% of jobs that are posted right now. So from the employer perspective, you're in this war for talent, and so many employers are losing this war.
So many of the jobs that require college degrees didn't actually require college degrees 2 or 3 decades ago, which is coming from this place of, oh, that's an easy proxy. But it's a proxy that's actually serving against the interests of our employers and of our country.
But with the ever-growing demand, where and how can employers source talent?
Talent is everywhere in our country, but opportunity is not.
We have this abundant resource that is locked away in the 53 million working adults in this country.
But they're in jobs that pay less than $30,000 a year. They don't have the time or the money to go to college. And so they're stuck.
And that low-wage work becomes a life sentence and not a launch pad. And in this situation, the employers don't get the talent that they need, and then the workers are boxed out of opportunities that could change their lives.
That's why they've built a new talent pipeline themselves. Their training program upskills hardworking, low-wage workers to connect them with employers in a matter of months. Employers like Intact Technology.
Intact sits in a really interesting space. Digital workflow technology, automation, generative AI. There's just a massive amount of demand for it. The biggest problem is the shortage of talent. So as we're confronted with this growth, this creates a huge issue, and we have to consider these alternative paths.
Which brings us back to the central question. How do you reliably vet talent without relying on just college degrees?
My name is Angela Butler, and I am the Workforce Development Manager at Intact Technology. All businesses are focused on the outcome. Where are we trying to get to? And having the right person get you there, that's what you ultimately care about.
Let's ask what actually matters for these jobs. We need employers and hiring managers to get really clear about what they actually care about. What are you using the college degree to vet for?
We want someone that is ambitious, emotionally intelligent, hardworking, that doesn't give up.
But the problem extends beyond what employers are screening for. It's finding enough talent to screen. That's where Connor and Rebecca's upskilled workforce comes in, filled with ready-to-work individuals, like Sandra.
So tell me, what motivates you day to day?
I grew up in São Paulo, Brazil. Then I came here right after college, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get me a job at an advertising agency here in the United States. It's gonna be awesome. And I start sending hundreds of resumes, thousands of applications. Nothing came out of it. Meanwhile, I found the door open in the restaurant industry, and I never stopped applying for other things.
10 years later, she was still stuck behind a counter.
I had 2 jobs, working about 80 hours a week. So when my daughter walked for the first time, I really wasn't there to experience that.
Sandra is an incredible example of the type of people that have strong emotional intelligence, a growth mindset, and the ability to learn rapidly. People who are hungry, and they'll work hard for that opportunity.
One of the key differences we've seen between people coming from the workforce and people coming directly out of college is my workforce candidates, they know how to work. They have been in the workforce, and that experience cannot be taught.
I've always liked IT, so I started looking, how can I train on my own? I came across Married America, and I'm like,
And she was able to complete the program in just over 12 weeks.
A few interviews later, she was hired for an entry-level role at Intact.
Sandra very quickly was taking on new opportunities and improving the operations of Intact.
Since I started here and went through the program, I have learned and grown for what really matters.
She's now a manager on the team, but she's also why we have a partnership with Married America. Now, it is the best single source of applicants that we have to tap into. Because if you can take anybody and within 6 months give them a skill set, that's not only extraordinary for them, but it's great for the economy. And as a business, without that, we're literally not going to be able to keep up with our competitors.
And that is the opportunity that employers have to break the spell of the college degree, this myth that it is the only way to vet for exceptional talent.
It certainly makes you think, how much closer could we be to filling those 10 million open jobs if more businesses adopted this kind of hiring strategy?
We've had hundreds of employers across the whole country hire from our talent pool.
But probably the stat that we're most proud of is that we have driven over $1 billion in wage gains. And these are $1 billion that are going back into their families, into their communities, and into our country.
We had 85% growth just last year alone and brought 130 new people into the business. And now 40 to 50% of the people that we're bringing in will come through this non-traditional approach to hiring.
My husband tells me, like, you are the portrait of the American dream, right? You came here with nothing and you worked yourself into where you wanted to be.
Imagine a world where if you give folks the support and opportunities they need to self-actualize, the American dream is possible.
This is a solvable problem. We can help employers get the talent they're looking for. And we can help anyone who wants to work hard get ahead. And when we do that, everyone wins.
Stand Together partners with changemakers tackling our biggest challenges. To see more stories, follow our channels. And to learn more about how you can partner with us, go to standtogether.org.